So the whole time we're thinking that that's her husband, Jack Brooksbank. It turns out, guess who that mystery man was the whole time?
Was it Meghan's guy?
It was Marcus Anderson.
Marcus Anderson, yeah.
Why is she having dinner with Marcus Anderson, and why is he then going home with Meghan and Harry?
January 2026 hits, and those quiet whispers flip into a full spotlight again. Meghan Markle and Marcus Anderson are side by side in photo after photo. Soho House events, Paris Fashion Week, even Disneyland trips with her kids. And somehow the same man is always right there, not blurred in the background, but standing next to her every single time. Marcus Anderson isn't just some casual friend, and people in those circles know it. He's holding keys to some of the most exclusive member clubs on the planet. The gatekeeper, the fixer, the guy you need to know if you want in instead of waiting outside. For years, wherever Meghan shows up, Marcus seems to appear like clockwork. So now social media is finally asking the question many were scared to say out loud before. What is really going on between Meghan Markle and the man credited with introducing her to Prince Harry? Here's the part that really has people talking.
Actually attended the garden party and overheard something Meghan said to Harry. So after about 15 minutes talking to guests and being charming, Meghan turned to Harry, and I quote from Lady C's book, "Harry, this is really boring."
In the photos that keep resurfacing online, Meghan is basically never seen alone at Soho House. Every shot that makes the rounds shows Marcus Anderson right by her side, with no clear exceptions fans have pointed out so far. This is the same man who reportedly has a say in membership approvals. The same man widely said to have helped arrange that first meeting with Harry. The same familiar face at her baby shower, her wedding, and on certain family trips. And hovering behind all of it is Nick Jones, founder of Soho House, a man who understands exactly how powerful those private invite-only spaces can be for networking and quiet deals. These photos don't just sit online for decoration. Together they paint a pattern that people are trying to decode. Whether supporters defend her or critics side-eye every frame, the images keep shaping the conversation.
Queenie said it best. It's downright bizarre that a man, gay or straight, constantly clings to a family like Marcus Anderson does with Harry, Meghan, and their kids. He is like a parasite, always lurking in their...
Meghan has spoken about wanting privacy, but to a lot of people watching from the outside, what they think they're seeing looks more like access and pure ambition than hiding from the spotlight. This isn't just about romance talk, it's about proximity to power. Who stands next to her, who opens the doors, and who gets a seat at the table in places like Soho House, with branches in London, New York, Toronto, Los Angeles, and more. You don't just swipe a card and stroll into Soho House, and people in those circles know it. You need sponsorship, you need approval, and most of all, you need someone with real pull vouching for you, and in Meghan's case, that someone is Marcus Anderson, the global membership director who makes doors open for the chosen few. He didn't pop up at the top out of nowhere either. Marcus started out as a waiter and climbed his way up until he became Nick Jones's right-hand man, the person trusted to shape the guest list for elite celebrity parties and private events. He's the one quietly deciding which actors, models, and wealthy insiders get into those rooms and which ones stay outside looking in. Nick Jones founded Soho House in 1995 and built it into a global empire worth serious money. But along the way, he laid down one rule he repeated in public. We try not to give membership to people who would fuel paparazzi or bring press. That wasn't just talk. Big names were told no. Kim Kardashian, Kobe Bryant, global superstars with massive fame and headlines were reportedly turned away for bringing too much attention, too much noise, too many cameras.
Meghan Markle's best friend, who set her up with Prince Harry, has vanished. Whatever happened to Meghan's best friend Marcus Anderson? The tall, handsome Canadian was third wheel in the early days of her romance with Prince Harry, and he was front and center at their 2018.
So that's why people keep circling the same question. How does Meghan Markle, a cable TV actress on Suits, reportedly making around $50,000 an episode, gain access to Soho House locations around the world and move like a regular when bigger names were shut out? The answer most people land on keeps pointing back to Marcus Anderson, the gatekeeper. Meghan and Marcus weren't just acquaintances, they moved like close friends with the one man who could open doors that mattered. That doesn't look random, it looks planned out, because access to rooms full of wealthy, powerful, connected people can flip someone's whole life path fast. And then come the photos. These aren't stiff red carpet poses or wide group shots. The images show a level of closeness that makes people stop scrolling. December 2014, Meghan and Marcus at an event She's holding a large glass of wine, her arm wrapped around his back, Marcus leaning in close, faces nearly touching, like they're locked into their own private conversation while the rest of the room fades out. This is the kind of body language that keeps people talking and replaying the same clips, because it raises questions that never really go away. In shot after shot, the way they stand, lean, and smile around each other is hard to brush off as nothing. June 2016, just 1 month before Meghan is said to have met Harry. Toronto Gala, Marcus in a blue tuxedo, Meghan in a black dress. His arm is wrapped around her waist like they are familiar and comfortable with each other. The pictures give off a flirtatious energy, the kind of vibe that makes people stop scrolling and look twice. So now look at the timing. 1 month before that blind date with Harry, Meghan is already moving closely with Marcus. Then we jump to September 2017, Invictus Games in Toronto. Meghan is sitting next to Marcus, their knees brushing in the arena seats. Harry is there too, but the frame that keeps circulating shows Meghan turned toward Marcus with a big smile, while Harry appears stiff, staring off into the distance. Then there is October 2025, Paris Fashion Week, the photo that recently went viral.
And so for Harry himself, he's now, in many people are suggesting, trapped. And as his mother famously said in that line, it's difficult because there's 3 of us in this marriage. History, truly, according to that source, is repeating itself. Harry is very much sort of whatever is suggested, he has to go along with.
Meghan and Marcus are walking through the streets of Paris holding hands. Not the quick arm-length friends sometimes do, but a relaxed hand-in-hand walk that many people associate with couples. Social media lit up with one user writing, "Does no one else find this strange?" June 2025, Disneyland, a family trip for Lilibet's 4th birthday. When the photos surfaced, there is Marcus again in the background. Meghan even used a heart emoji to cover his face in her Instagram post, and viewers started asking, if he is just a normal friend, why hide him at all? Here is what stands out. Meghan is never photographed alone at Soho House. Across these years, she is always seen with Marcus or Harry. Under Soho House rules, guests are meant to stay beside the member for the whole visit, which suggests Meghan was there as Marcus Anderson's guest, not as a member herself. Nick Jones stepped down as Soho House CEO in November 2022 after a prostate cancer diagnosis, but he has remained involved in creative and membership decisions. He knows what goes down in his clubs, every party, every private room, every quiet arrangement according to insiders. Soho House isn't just a club, it's a networking machine built to plug ambitious people into money and influence. Deals are made, relationships form, connections get locked in, all with no cameras around to catch who's talking to who. Jones also owns Babington House, the countryside spot where Harry and Meghan had some of their early dates. Sources say Marcus Anderson was the one coordinating those meetups, lining up the rooms and timing, making sure everything stayed private and controlled. That's not regular friend behavior, that's professional level coordination. Babington House itself has a reputation in those circles. Insiders describe it as a little edgy, the type of place where networking goes past basic handshakes and business cards, tucked behind old walls, fireplaces, and country house charm. Now here's how Harry and Meghan are actually said to have met. According to royal biographer Katie Nicholl, the polished official story doesn't quite line up with what people behind the scenes describe. Harry reportedly went to Marcus Anderson and asked him to set up a private meeting with Meghan in a back room at Soho House, London, in July 2016. The group was kept tight, just 7 or 8 people, so Harry and Meghan could talk without feeling like it was a press event. What most people don't mention is that Harry went to Marcus on purpose to arrange that intro. Marcus wasn't random, he was the middleman with access. And that's the dynamic people look at.
What now would seem to be a very reasonable position of not believing a word coming out of Meghan Markle's mouth about my royal family. Now, most people now agree with me about the veracity of what comes out of her mouth. But at the time, this was deemed so controversial that my company, rather than defending my right to free speech, the network said you've either apologize for disbelieving her or you have to leave.
Marcus sets up the first meeting between his close friend Meghan and Prince Harry, then stays in the picture, helping line up quiet dates at Babington House, sorting out exclusive spaces at different Soho House locations, basically moving like Meghan's fixer. What's a fixer? Someone who makes things happen behind the scenes, solves problems, and opens doors that stay shut for almost everyone else. That's the lane Marcus Anderson operates in. Meanwhile, Meghan spent most of her suit's years as a working actress, not a global star, not ultra-rich, and not plugged into elite circles yet. She had ambition, but she still needed access, and that's what someone in Marcus's position could provide without ever stepping in front of the cameras. Then she links up with Marcus Anderson, and suddenly her whole lifestyle levels up overnight. Now she's flying around Europe, sliding into exclusive parties, brushing shoulders with the wealthy and powerful, getting invited to rooms most working actors never even hear about. A regular TV actress doesn't usually tap into that kind of access on her own, so people naturally ask, how did that door swing open so wide so fast? Marcus Anderson's whole career is about connecting the right people at the right time, knowing who matters, and making introductions that actually shift lives. Once Meghan stepped into his circle, she didn't just gain a new friend, she plugged into a global network stretching through London, Toronto, Los Angeles, and way beyond. Everywhere she moved, Marcus's network seemed to clear the way in front of her. That doesn't look like simple friendship, that looks like professional facilitation, and that raises the real question people whisper about: what did Meghan offer in return for all of that premium access? Look at the path laid out. Cable actress becomes Soho House regular. Soho House regular gets introduced to Prince Harry. Through that same circle, she meets Harry, then later marries into the royal family. That kind of progression doesn't feel like pure luck. It looks like a carefully guided strategy, executed step by step with help from someone who knows exactly how to make things happen quietly. Fast forward to now. Years after the royal wedding, years after stepping away from senior royal life, Marcus Anderson is still around, still popping up.
I got this direct message from Meghan Markle.
A private message.
Yeah. And it said, "Hey, I'm a big fan, and I'm so excited you're following me." And this is
She said to you?
It was about 3 years ago, and I replied, and we corresponded quite regularly on.
In the 2018 royal wedding crowd, the 2019 New York baby shower, Paris Fashion Week in October 2025, walking through the city, Disneyland in June 2025, on that family trip. Some sources even describe him as the second most important man in Meghan's life, after Harry, ranking ahead of her own relatives, and that wording makes people sit up. A man from Soho House is painted as the one who helped facilitate her whole rise from working actress to duchess. People close to the Sussex circle say Marcus doesn't like the spotlight, which is why he didn't appear in the Netflix documentary. That's also why they claim Meghan covered his face with an emoji at Disneyland. And here's what really gets people talking: if this is just a normal, innocent friendship, why keep it so low-key? Why blur him out, skip him in the documentaries, and never simply say, "This is my good friend Marcus, we've known each other for years"? The secrecy feeds suspicion. His constant presence keeps the questions alive, and the photos line up into a story whether anyone wants to spell it out or not. When Meghan and Marcus share the same space, there's a tension Meghan can't fully control. Look at Harry whenever Marcus is nearby in those photos. September 2017 at the Invictus Games, Harry looks uneasy while Meghan turns toward Marcus with a big smile, and people say you can read the mood from that one frame. Some sources claim there was friction, that Harry didn't understand why Marcus was always around or why Meghan leaned on him at family events. The photos and body language speak without sound, but what is Harry supposed to say about the man who helped bring them together? Marcus introduced them and helped with the early stages of their relationship, lining up quiet moments when everything was still new. Marcus has been in Meghan's life longer than Harry, and that alone makes things tricky.
Joking, this is very important. Now, the Rwanda scheme, it seems, was cruelly abandoned. We know it was impetuously axed by this funny little man who's our Prime Minister on day one. It's just a gimmick, it's a gimmick. And he axed it on day one.
If Harry pushes back, it can look like he's attacking Meghan's closest friendship. If he accepts it, he's accepting another man with rare access to his wife and family time. Harry also stepped away from his own family for Meghan, causing tension with William and King Charles. So if doubts creep in about Meghan's connections or how much influence Marcus really has, people wonder what that means for everything Harry sacrificed. It leaves him looking boxed in with limited moves left. Now zoom out and look at what Soho House gave Meghan. This was never just about fancy parties, it was about access to networks of wealthy, powerful people who can flip a career path fast. Ron Burkle, a billionaire investor tied to Soho House, is someone Meghan could have crossed paths with through that circle. Then you have Hanu, the fashion designer and Soho House regular, close to Meghan, Jessica Mulroney, the stylist plugged into Canadian elite circles, and Serena Williams, a member who became Meghan's friend. All of these links sit inside the same web, flowing through Marcus Anderson's network and helping Meghan move from working actress to someone who could step into royal circles without looking out of place. That's the value people say Marcus Anderson brought into Meghan's life, not just friendship, but doors, shortcuts, and chances she never had before. Meghan used that access in a smart, strategic way, but it leaves a tough question. What did it cost, and what did she give back to stay inside that circle? That's why these photos going viral again in late 2025 hit so hard. They show the connection didn't fade. Years after the wedding, years after stepping away from royal life, Marcus Anderson is still in the frame, making observers wonder whether the royal marriage was the destination or just one step in a bigger plan. Think it through.
Worth it. Remember?
I'm a real mom.
But you know what it got me thinking about? Meghan and Harry's travel safe obsession. Now, of course, we should all travel safe. That's a relatively normal thing to say, no big deal. Not trying to make mountains out of molehills or anything like that. Not like the
Meghan reached the royal family through Marcus Anderson's Soho House network, not by random chance on the street. She used that platform to build global visibility, then walked away from palace life while keeping both the fame and Marcus close. To critics, that suggests Marcus Anderson's network might have mattered more than royal titles, because the royal world came and went, but the Soho House connections stayed. Some watchers argue the real prize was never the crown, it was the contact list behind it. In that view, Harry becomes the bridge that carried her from private guest lists to the world stage. And now she's building a California base with Marcus still nearby, playing a familiar role like he did in Toronto years ago. Nick Jonas attended Harry and Meghan's wedding, but he has stayed publicly quiet about Meghan's Soho House years. He hasn't shared what went on in those private rooms, but many think his silence speaks loudly. Nick Jonas knows who came to which parties, what introductions were made, and what moves Marcus arranged. He watched Meghan go from guest to duchess, using his venues as a launchpad. Jones protects his brand, and Soho House sells discretion and privacy. If he exposed details of Meghan's time inside that world, people believe the trust around Soho House would take a hit. So he stays low-key, keeps the friendships, appears at big moments, and protects the business, while the main players keep their memories to themselves. Marcus Anderson knows, Meghan knows, Nick Jonas knows. And when you line up that journey from working actress with no major connections to a regular in a network that can open doors, people debate how much of Meghan's rise was talent and how much was timing and access with the right fixer in her corner. From there, the pattern is clear to a lot of people watching. Meet Harry, step into the royal spotlight, then walk away from royal life but keep the fame, the influence, and Marcus Anderson locked in right beside her. To critics, that looks less like random chance and more like a long game in motion. The real question becomes how much of this was luck and how much was mapped out from the start.
Don't know if a meeting is definitely going to take place. We do know that Duke of Sussex is very keen to see his father. I think the key issue is that if any details of this meeting, should it go ahead, are leaked to the media, that could compromise a reconciliation, because what I'm told is at the heart of all of this.
When you look at how often Marcus shows up, events, family trips, fashion weeks, private dinners, high-profile parties, it starts to feel hard for some folks to label it coincidence. This is someone who clearly knows how to move in elite circles, how to get what he wants without drawing cameras, and how to make Meghan's access look smooth and effortless while he stays mostly in the background. And the photos line up a story no press release or interview can fully erase. In those shots, Meghan doesn't look just casually friendly with Marcus, she looks consistently close in private moments and public scenes. Holding hands in Paris, hidden faces at Disneyland, smiles, light touches, that close body proximity that makes people raise an eyebrow and rewind the clip. The images suggest a bond that kept going long after the royal wedding, long after she officially left royal duties, and that's why online debate refuses to die down. So what did Marcus really provide if you break it down? Opportunity, connections, influence, and access to people like Ron Burkle, Hanu, Jessica Mulroney, Serena Williams, and a whole list of well-connected names who could lift Meghan's profile and career. And she played those cards smart, no doubt. But it also makes people ask what the trade-off was. Time, loyalty, favors, introductions of her own. Nobody outside that circle knows the full terms, but most agree people in Marcus's position don't pour in time, energy, and high-level access for no reason. Marcus had a role, and Meghan definitely benefited, but their setup looks mutual and strategic, not random, a partnership that's been carefully kept in place over the years. Even now, his presence hasn't faded. He's still in photos, still rumored to make introductions, still quietly influential in her world. That ongoing role keeps raising questions about loyalty, priorities, and what the real story is behind Meghan's fast rise from working actress to global figure. And while Harry got swept up in the romance, the drama, and the royal spotlight, Marcus seems to have been the one working quietly in the background, putting pieces in place so that rise looked natural from the outside. That's behind-the-scenes power, the kind of influence most people never actually see, and that's exactly why years later these resurfaced photos are shaking things up all over again. They put the truth right in front of your face, no subtitles needed. Meghan's rise, the fame, the brand did not just fall out of the sky by accident. When you follow it step by step, Marcus Anderson's fingerprints sit all over the storyline, from the first quiet invites to the turning points. The photos are real, the timeline lines up, the level of access is clear, and the connection is still alive years after most people would expect it to fade. That is what nobody can cleanly explain. Why is Marcus Anderson still so involved in Meghan's life long after he introduced her to Harry? What lane is he in today? He is not her employee, not her manager, not on paper as her business partner, yet he pops up on family vacations, walks beside her at Paris Fashion Week, always in the frame, called the second most important man in her life. What kind of setup is that? Normal friendships do not stay that embedded across countries, across years, through marriage and major life changes. The explanation many people land on is simple. Marcus Anderson knows things. He holds information. He has power over Meghan's story because he watched it from the inside. The Toronto period, the Soho House nights, the networking with wealthy men, the positioning that led to Harry, Marcus was there. He is the insurance, the keeper of secrets, the one person who can back up or shut down what really went on in those years before Harry. Meghan keeps him close because letting that kind of witness drift away could mean losing control of the story. These photos keep going viral because their relationship pattern does not add up. The public explanation does not sit smoothly with the visuals. If Marcus is just a friend, people ask, why the hand-holding? Why the constant appearances? Why family events? Why cover his face in pictures? If everything is innocent, why so much around it instead of saying, this is my friend Marcus, he has been in my life for years? The more Meghan seems to keep Marcus in the shadows while still keeping him close in real life, the more it raises eyebrows and sparks questions. People look at the pattern and say it doesn't feel simple at all. And somewhere in the middle of that silence sit three people who reportedly know the full story: Nick Jones, Marcus Anderson, and Meghan herself. None of them are talking, and that silence keeps the speculation alive. Because if anyone really broke it down, they'd have to walk through how a cable TV actress ended up using exclusive member clubs and private introductions to move into elite circles and eventually into the orbit of a royal prince, at least in the way critics describe it. This doesn't play like a fairy tale to those watching from the outside. It looks more like serious ambition, carefully moved through strategic relationships with powerful men who controlled access. The photos help shape that narrative. Meghan with Marcus in 2014, 2016, 2017, 2019, 2025, a full decade where he appears by her side, a decade where doors seem to keep opening. Some people don't see that as random or casual friendship. They read it as a long-running partnership that helped transform her life and still touches it today. And then there's the part nobody on the inside is likely to spell out: what really went on in those private Soho House rooms, those guest lists, those off-camera conversations. That's the version of the story people assume Nick Jones knows but will never publicly confirm. Because keeping that quiet protects Meghan, protects Marcus, and protects the Soho House brand itself. But the pictures keep circling online, and they're not disappearing. Marcus Anderson isn't disappearing either, and neither are the questions about how a struggling actress ended up so closely tied to the man who reportedly introduced her to a prince. If you've got thoughts after seeing all this, drop them in the comments below. If this breakdown made you look at things a little differently, hit subscribe and stay locked in for more deep dives like this. And don't forget to like the video and share it with someone who needs to see it.